Okay, I think I've taken enough patient gaming time on this one. I can't wait to dive into Slay the Spire II. Oh dear. Oh lordy. Lordy, lordy. Oh god. Why make a crit? Why? No! Looks like many Slay the Spire II fans are a bit peeved given it was recently revealed that the fairly controversial Sarkeesian of Anita has a consultation credit in this beloved deck building roguelite. Just overnight, reviews have gone from overwhelmingly positive to mostly negative. Not surprising, really. But the question is this just? After all, the game is pretty much considered to be an absolute blast and fantastico all around. Is it an appropriate practice to review bomb a game that is universally praised by a proven studio, simply because said studio brought on a lady that few to no people like as a consultant? Well, stay tuned and we'll go over my sensual thoughts on the matter, for I don't think this is so black and white. Breakdown. Howdy ho neighbors, Jarek Defiler the Patient Gamer here with something a little bit different from my usual reviews, video game soundtrack recommendations, and patient gaming discussions. Today we're going to dip a bit into the socio-political realm of the gaming industry, something I tend to not take part in that much, and talk about the Anita Sarkeesian / Slay the Spire II scandal. Oh boy, here it goes. For those who aren't familiar with Anita Sarkeesian, she was a prominent feminist powerhouse in the realm of video game critiquing way back in the early to mid 2010s. She kickstarted a fairly controversial lecture series called Feminist Frequency, where she would take apart the mainstream gaming industry by meticulously hunting for and deconstructing every possible aspect in video games through the oh-so-thick lens of intersectional feminism. Part of this would involve her attacking gamers themselves at times, claiming that many are entitled or that gaming culture is toxic, and this toxicity drives misogynist hatred in gaming communities. Game devs themselves were subject to her ire, as she demanded they start moving away from the entitled macho male power fantasy in their games because fantasy and fun be damned. I mean, women never enjoy stereotypical fantasy tropes in their entertainment mediums, am I right? And it's always really interesting how she accuses game devs and gamers of being entitled when she herself feels entitled to tell all the gamers and game devs how they should play and make games. But, there you go. There were also her other particularly juicy feminist takes that aged like fine Bruce Willis. But in regard to the gaming industry, this infamous clip pretty much summed up her viewpoints on the matter.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Well, why so happy about it then? As you can see, if you look for it, you will find it, and find it she did, even if it wasn't there in the first place. Over the years, she became very prominent in the gaming scene, becoming a target of gamer movements such as GamerGate due to her almost omnipresent affiliation with virtually all the big studios at the time. She was charging upwards of $20,000 per guest speech, and you couldn't go to a major event without hearing her name or seeing her face plastered on some poster. But over the years, the industry began to shift course and she lost steam. She had to eventually shut down Feminist Frequency in 2023, and their Tubes of You channel is pretty much dead. Shame. So why am I telling you all this? Well, first off, I want to let you know the background of this woman and why hiring her as a consultant on your game in this day and age is generally not a great look. But also, I want to be upfront with my biases here, as I do not like Anita Sarkeesian. I think she did a lot of harm to the gaming industry as a whole. I think she painted gamers and your average studio in a very negative light while holding a very large audience that a lot of people that aren't capable of thinking for themselves took to heart and just ran off with, causing even more problems. Virtually everything involving the, for lack of a better word, negative woke side of things when it comes to gaming, such as race and gender swapping characters for no reason other than quotas, implementing diversity checkboxes in your development cycle rather than what is best for the game, and this overall vitriol many studios have presented towards their own customers was a result of her actions. You can go down a fairly intricate rabbit hole and it will very likely end up leading to Anita Sarkeesian. I don't think she acted in good faith. I don't think she was genuine in her criticisms. I feel that as a result of her previously failed ventures, she was simply grifting and trying to infiltrate an industry under the guise of virtue and social justice, when it appeared to be more about simply furthering her own agenda, mainly money, and pushing an in vogue ideology over everything else to further serve said agenda. I think it's fair to say that she did nothing but harm the gaming industry, and as a result of her success back in the day, we saw many other social justice consultation firms pop up over the years that just further damaged the industry as a whole. This is what happens when you have game studios take the word of the new hottest cult activist that wasn't even a gamer to begin with.
I'm not a fan of video games. I actually had to learn a lot about video games in the process of making this. And also, video games, like, I would love to play video games, but I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross, so...
Bitch! Little bitch. I made you my bitch!
So yeah, me no likey. And that transitions us into the topic of Slay the Spire II. Having not played it myself, by all accounts, Slay the Spire II is a phenomenal title. I played a crapload of Slay the Spire I, and Mega Crit knows what they're doing with deck builder roguelites. They seem to have pulled off an awesome sequel that just adds to the success of its predecessor. But then you have the Anita Sarkeesian scandal, and yes, I do consider it a scandal given the history gamers have with this woman. And the review bombing commences, even though many of those down-thumbing the game most likely really enjoy it. The question is this appropriate? Should the reviews only be based on the game's quality and if it's worth purchasing or not? Is this an instance of should we not separate the art from the artist? Well, my personal opinion here is that yes, I do think it's appropriate for people to state their grievances with the thumbs down option. The main reason for this is that your everyday average Jane and Joe gamer don't have thousands or millions of followers on X, or subscribers on YouTube or Twitch. They don't have insider connections with major studios. These are just your regular gamers that aren't happy about this discovery. So what other ways are they supposed to make their voices heard if not by Steam reviews? I think that's perfectly fair. This is the one place where they can make a solid impact and the developers can hear them. Despite the game being great, those upset with the decision of consulting Anita Sarkeesian feel that this topic is more important, so let their voice be heard, I say. And when it comes to separating the art from the artist type deal, I don't think that works here because hiring a consultant on your game is affecting the art itself. They are likely making decisions based off that consultant's advice, otherwise they wouldn't have hired them in the first place. So yeah, it's an unfortunate mess that I think warrants some pushback from the fans of Slay the Spire II. That said, her involvement, and keep in mind we don't know how much she was actually involved. For all we know, they could have had an hour-long meeting with her early on in development and then been like, fuck that skank, and never talk to her again, but they'd still have to credit her due to that 1 hour. But her involvement in anything gaming is generally a bad sign. Still, the game seems to be great. I mean, haven't heard any complaints of BS sociopolitical agendas being shoved down the players' throats or anything, so no harm done, I suppose. And I don't have any ill will against Mega Crit. I think they make awesome games, and I hope they continue to do so. Anita Sarkeesian's involvement isn't going to sway my decision to eventually buy the game, as, again, by all accounts the game is great, and it doesn't seem to have any sociopolitical agenda overshadowing the gameplay. So, all good to me! I also don't hate Anita Sarkeesian, and hope she has a happy and successful life, just not in the sphere of the gaming industry. Stay away, please, Miss Sarkeesian. So I hope that this is a lesson learned and that Anita Sarkeesian needs to remain irrelevant in the gaming space. Let her name be dust in the farts. I know, ironic how I'm making a video about her involvement, which gives her some relevancy, but I do think this interaction between gamers and devs is important and worth discussing. Many times we've had some review bombings that were more just a I support current thing type movement rather than something of substance, and I wanted to point out that some review bombing can be justified. Like I say, the world is gray. Very rarely is there hard black and whites. You get the idea. So yeah, just thought I'd share my thoughts on this and maybe give a little bit of perspective, albeit biased, on Anita Sarkeesian and why so many gamers despise her input. Thanks for watching. I'm sure this one may rustle some feathers, but you know, whatever. This has been Jarek Defiler. Surprised she's back. Ugh. You all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are. And you know what? Why not go play some Slay the Spire II? See you in the next video, guys.